Welcome to the Living Quadratus podcast and this table of friendship. If you've found that you've moved away from a church or religion for whatever reason, or maybe you're exploring the idea of a spiritual life, we hope that you'll find the Living Quadratus podcast as a place of freedom and safety for you, whoever you are, whatever your tradition or no tradition, and however you find yourself today. You're welcome here. We're also here to explore the everyday practices of Quadratus, and that's our name for a universal pattern that lives in everything. And we want to share how Quadratus is at the very core of Jesus' teachings, and to hear from people about how they're using Quadratus to enliven their lives. I'm Bron Thoroughgood, a Quadratus practitioner joining you from Newcastle, Australia, where I live on a Awabakal land. And I live near the beach and I swim in it every day. And it's just struck me just recently how beautiful it is to think that each time I swim, I'm entering the water that's been a source of food and ceremony and story, trade and belonging for more than 11,800 years of continuous relationship between the Awabakal people and this country. With me is our co-host, Alexander John Shaia, who's author and founder of Quadratus. Alexander John, could you share with us where you're coming from today?
Thanks, Bron, and welcome everyone. I am here on the northwest coast of Spain. And as you were talking, Bron, I was thinking about how when I go down and put my my body in the water, I think about how this very water has also flowed all the way to Australia and back. Yeah. And that in the waters, we are one. Mm-hmm. So let me strike the gong, and would you lead us in a meditation just to sort of ground and help us be here now?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm mindful that you may be listening to this podcast while you're driving or walking or doing some other activity where it's not safe to actually stop and close your eyes. Maybe just closing your eyes is not safe anyway. So I'm inviting you to modify and adjust this pause to accommodate your circumstances. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I just invite you to join me in taking the journey inwards. Maybe your eyes are downcast, maybe they're wide open and taking in the view. Maybe they're closed. It doesn't matter. Just go inward and be there for a moment. And I just invite you to take a breath, if that helps you to bring you into this present moment. And just a reminder that even just feeling where your feet are or your hands are in this moment, it also can bring you into this present moment. Or maybe just listening for any sounds that are close by or in a distance. So as you inhale and exhale slowly, or as you feel your hands or your feet, or as you connect with a sound, feel yourself arriving here more fully. And take a moment to feel your heart. What is it calling for? Just be present to this calling as it flows through you, and remain with it while whatever it is arises within you. And in a moment, Alexander John will strike the gong, which is your invitation to effortlessly come back into this space together.
Thank you, Bron. I love starting this way, and it just helps me let go of all the things on my to-do list today and just be here, be with everyone. So, what are we doing today? What are we going to talk about?
Okay. So, what if the version of Christianity that you were handed was always slightly off? Not wrong in every detail, but built on a foundation that made God feel like a judge and you feel like a defendant. I know that feeling, and I've shared how that framework just didn't sit with me or help me through my darkest moments. So today, we've had a couple of questions from a listener, and I'd like us to sit with a few questions that she's asked us. And I actually think that what she's asking us to do here is some of the bravest spiritual work we can do, and that's asking whether the map that she was given is the right one. And Alexander John, I know that you've seen those questions, and I just want to bring you straight into this. What theological world do you think she's been living inside?
Actually, to help everyone who's with us today, might you just give us that first question she asked?
Yeah, the first question is, hold on a second, let me find it. How does Theosis deal with the Adam and Eve creation story and about the choices that were made?
So, this is really core. And there's so much that we have to sort of go through the layers here. I will forever be grateful to Matthew Fox for one of his first books, which is called Original Blessing. And it just reminds me, because my whole life I've heard original sin, original sin, original sin, original sin, as if we are born separated from God. Whereas when we start with the foundation of original blessing, then we are given a strong foundation to make a journey. Adam and Eve, whoever these original ones are, and to me they are a story that is so deeply true that this has to be an every person's story rather than like particular people back in history. But they are created in the image of God, but they're created unreflective of the beauty and the truth of who they are. And because of that unreflectiveness, they don't know at the beginning of their journey, even though they are in paradise, they don't yet know the blessing. And So they fall out of harmony and then make a journey to recover what's always been there. So I really love this sense of that, like a child, all of us start, hopefully, in some place of great care. I realize that many people don't have that sort of wonderful childhood, but that we do have the potential to start out in some wonderful place, but and that we might even think of as some paradisial place where all of our needs are taken care of. But then we have to step in to a growth process. We have to become reflective of what we have been given.
Mm.
And in that process of becoming reflective, we can momentarily step out of harmony and need to bring ourselves back into it.
Mm.
So in this way, what happens with Adam and Eve is an image of what happens for all of us. And it's not that Adam and Eve make some conscious intent to be separated from God, but they make a decision that means for the moment they fall out of harmony. And now, like all of us, as we grow, we must do the inner work to bring ourselves back to what's always been true, that we are created and live in the Holy One's blessing.
This is like so different, though, to the message that I grew up hearing, which was that this at the Adam and Eve story was the story of separation from God, that we needed to therefore do something, or God needed to do something to repair and bring us back together. But that's nothing like what you've just explained in terms of being like. This is the thing that drew me so much to Quadratus was the fact that it's not saying that I'm bad. It's saying that at times I'm unreflective.
Mm-hmm.
And that there are times when I need to lean in to spirit, or lean into my friends, or just sort of sit quietly with the pain of something that's happening for me.
Right.
And without also owning the fact that I'm so bad that I need God to do something to bring me back into relationship with him.
And so, although we have not been taught, I'm struggling with the word here, we have not been taught very much about the first 300 to 400 years of Christianity. And the belief and the practice of all of those early Christians was something that we call theosis.
Mm.
And theosis is the belief that we are created in the image of the Holy One. We're created in the image of God. We are created in the image of God. And we will go through our whole life gradually becoming ever more reflective and conscious and aware of how we've already been created. So it's not in any way a change of nature, but rather that we grow in to the fullness of who God created us to be through a gradual process of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this belief in this gradual process of transformation that our early Christian ancestors chose which four gospel texts and in which order to read them, so that the four gospel journey is the story of our growing into being who God has already created us to be. Deeper and wider and higher, over and over and over. So there is no separation from the Holy One. And a few years ago, I was at a beautiful baptism of a young one, and I was listening to these prayers, which they just tremendous sadness in me as I heard in these prayers over and over again about human depravity. That was actually the phrase, human depravity.
At a baptism.
At a baptism that only Jesus could heal. Human depravity that only Jesus could heal. I am so thankful for Jesus. Don't hear anything other than that. But Jesus did not come, in my understanding of Theosis and the first 4 centuries of Christianity, Jesus is not saving us from human depravity. Jesus is, in the words of Bishop Irenaeus, 2nd century Christianity, Jesus is showing us that the human fully alive is the glory of God. Those were Irenaeus' words. Each human fully alive is the glory of God. And so Jesus, Yeshua, is not coming to pull us up, change human nature, but is coming to make us more human, because in our very humanity, that's where God lives.
So he didn't come to fill the gap, to, like the picture that I have in my mind is that one where there's God and then there's us, and underneath is like all these people, crying out for help, and then the cross, and then we walk across the cross, and those of us who have said that amazing prayer, the sinner's prayer, to receive Jesus into our lives, are the ones that can walk across that cross, Now, and in our heart and mind circle, like we've this is so entrenched in my life that even I've been reading and contemplating, I've been in this for in so many years now, and there's still that time where you go, oh, but when they say all, do they really mean all? But yes, it does mean all. It doesn't mean just those who have said the right prayer at the right time, and heaven help those who didn't say it. My poor friends. This is the stuff that a lot of people struggle with.
Absolutely, because we have forgotten that Jesus is pointing to a reality which has lived across all time, I believe will live forward through all time, and is already everywhere. Now, the early Christians knew you can't go somewhere and take Jesus because Jesus is already there. The Christos is in every cell of the cosmos. The gift that we've been given is to go everywhere and recognize the Christos is already there.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's no place in the cosmos that is separate from God. For God has put God's very self into every cell of the cosmos and into every cell of us. And Yeshua came to show us the truth that's always been.
Mm.
And when you understand that truth, your life can change just like scales falling off your eyes.
Mm. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the truth is new. It's always been there. I
Mm.
just couldn't see it.
Mm.
The Christ, the Christos, has always been. Always. Yeshua's coming didn't create the Christ. But Yeshua came so that we would never fall into the illusion of being separate from God again. That's an illusion, but it's
Yeah.
not reality.
Yeah. That's so
We,
good.
we did not need Yeshua to quote unquote save us so we can walk across that bridge to the holy.
Mm.
We needed Yeshua to come so that we would fully know that divinity lives inside of us. And here's how we can live into that ever more true, ever more wide, ever more deep.
Mm. Yeah. You
And that
can't go
and
ahead.
living, and that living is a journey. And in our early Christian ancestors' way of naming, that journey has 4 steps in an ongoing cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And those 4 steps are the 4 gospels,
Mm.
which is how we too can live in greater harmony with deeper joy.
Mm. Makes me feel so much more light. The whole, that whole idea that is just, it's just another step. Tomorrow to this next moment is just the next moment.
Right.
Start again. Reflect more. Sit more. Wait. Whatever it is.
So
Yeah, I love it.
when we go back to that Adam and Eve story,
Mm.
it's in the 4 gospel journey reflection that moment of Adam and Eve is like the Gospel of Matthew.
Yeah.
And they had to make a decision. Ultimately, they made a decision that meant that they were going to go on a journey. At the end of the Gospel of Matthew, we're sent out into the wilderness. At the end of the Gospel, at the end of the story of Adam and Eve, they are sent now to go wander.
Mm.
That wandering is not separated from God. That
Yeah.
wandering is so that they will live the life with God more deeply, more reflectively, more consciously.
Mm. Yeah. The thing that I hear as well is that it's like it's not about making the right or the wrong choice. It's about, we make decisions and sometimes we get caught up in, oh, should I do this or should I do that? And we decide to do that. And maybe we should have done this.
Mhm.
But actually it is about, well, I've chosen that. So now I'm going to walk that no matter what it is. It's not really a wrong choice. It's just a different decision, isn't it?
It is. I mean, through the choices we make, we will learn how to walk the
Yeah.
journey better.
Mm. Yeah.
And I recognize that there are some choices that will lead to great harm.
Mm.
And
Definitely.
if we make those choices we've got a big lesson to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a question that if worship is required for salvation, isn't that a conditional love? And doesn't that make God sound more like an ego than a source of unconditional love? What would you say to that?
I love there's a book that I go back to so often by Ram Dass. It's not within Christian spirituality, although the message of the book is utterly Christian. It's utterly the Christian message. Ram Dass wrote this book called How Can I Help? And what he says at the opening of the book is, when you know how much you are loved, no one needs to tell you to help. He said, if you're asking the question, how can I help? It's because somewhere in you is a lack. Go find that lack and fill it with love. And you will intimately, instinctively flow out and help. And the same is true about worship. Worship is not something that we do to find our way back to God. Worship is when we know the life of God in me, with us, and I can do nothing but give praise back for that blessing and that love that has always been with me. It's not something anyone has to tell me to do. And it's certainly not something that I do to get brownie points in heaven.
No.
Love calls to love. And when you know that place, you flow with love.
Yeah. How do we discern what is truth and what is dogma? It's like to me, it feels like a lifelong question. Is there a quadratus way of approaching that?
Well, here's the piece that Quadratus brings, I think, and I know it brings for me, and I think it brings for many of us. It brings the map. I ache so much when I hear people say there's not a map. Oh, yes, there is. And every one of us is walking the journey that the map tells us about. It looks different in our lives. We're crossing different places and topographies, inner and outer, but the rhythm of the map is universal. And the rhythm of the map is how we discern truth. So there's not just truth, there's the truth of the first path. There's the truth of the second path. There's the truth of the third path. There's the truth of the fourth path. Each truth is coming from the terrain that you're walking. I'm aware of an example right now because I've been working on a gospel passage from the text of Matthew. And in the text of Matthew, Yeshua is saying to the disciples, I don't want you to go to the Samaritans, and I don't want you to go to the Gentiles. I want you to go only to the people of the house of Israel. Well, this sounds very odd. Why is Jesus telling us to go to just a particular group of people and not everybody? Well, we need to understand the first path. The first path for the original hearers of this text The temple has just been annihilated. The Jewish priesthood has been ended by massacre, and they are in utter bereft for what they have lost. The first path, when you are in this moment of profound grief, this is not the moment that you have the energy or the wisdom to go out to those outside of the grief and try to speak to them or try to teach them. The first path is a moment about walking the grief that you hold in your heart, about going to that inner family, that inner community that is fearful that there's not going to be a tomorrow. That's where you start. Now, we're going to get a very different message in the third path. We're going to get a wildly different message in the fourth path. But we don't get to the third and the fourth path by mentally making ourselves go there when we are in the grief of the first path. If you are in the grief of the first path, the truth is stay with your grief. Stay with those who you know are grieving with you. Walk this grief journey. There will be time, there'll be a different season, a different path, when we'll hear, not the suggestion, we'll hear the mandatum to go out everywhere. Not yet. So that's what I mean by it's so important that we understand each of the four parts of the four gospel journey and the truth of that path, because that path is showing us that our journey with God is a process. It's not a product and it's not a destination. It's a process. And the truth is what is emotionally, psychologically, spiritually true when we're at that place in the journey.
So, if you've been walking this journey for years, is it, it's possible that you can be back in the first path, on a particular issue and feeling all of that? Because I could honestly say that I'm in this place about this particular issue that's happening in my life right now that puts me smack where you just said.
Yeah.
And a reminder of the advice that it's it's okay just to be with me and those who understand what is happening for me right now.
Right.
It's good. It's good to know that, Alexander John.
Oh, yeah. We forever go through the four paths in an unending cycle. And even more specific than that, we probably are in all four paths at once in differing aspects of our life.
Yes. Yeah.
Like our relationship may be in the second path, our professional work may be in the fourth path, our relationship with a child might be a third path. So it is not that our whole lives move through the paths lockstep. Although I think that if we look at the overview of our life right now, probably one of the four paths is more to the fore and the other's a little in the recess. But the truth is, we're on every part of the journey all at once.
I really like that. Reminds me of what Dom was talking about last week when he was saying that it was the common language that was amongst the students that he was working with, that they were able to describe a time in their life that I feel like I'm going through a winter right now. And, people immediately understood this is a tough time. And, just to stand in solidarity with them.
Yeah. It's truly one of the gifts that Quadratus can give us is first, he gives us a map
Mm.
And we can locate where we are on that map at a particular moment. But then it also gives us a common language. So I can say to somebody, well, I'm having a Mark moment, a Gospel of Mark moment, or Mark is also the Gospels of winter, or I can say a winter moment, and immediately another person is going to basically know the contours of what we're experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
It's good.
helps me know how to respond to you, how to be with you, how to walk with you.
Mm. Exactly. That's good.
It's so beautiful and so necessary today because we're all in differing places, but we're all on the same journey.
Mm. Yes. Aren't we?
Yeah.
So good.
And I love for all of my years of walking with pilgrims, we're all of us are walking the very same terrain that day.
Mm.
And we're having very different experiences in that very same terrain.
Yeah.
One
Mm-hmm.
person is just in ecstasy, another person is in tears of discomfort, and
Mm-hmm.
another person is just hungry, and another person is so blissed out they can't think about food. And we're all on this journey, walking through the same inner terrain,
Mm.
but each one of us is in a different emotional and spiritual place.
Mm. Yeah. Indeed. I'm just going to whip back to the questions and see if we've answered. I think we've done. I think we've addressed all the questions that Terry has said. I think for someone who is sitting where Terry is sitting, feeling the old framework crumbling but not yet holding something new, what would you say to them?
Use the journey in this way.
Mm.
When the old frame is crumbling and trembling and we're very confused, I want you to know you're describing a first path experience. And this trembling, I also love Matthew's the only text that talks about earthquakes. Um, and it's so true. The first path is an earthquake in our life.
Yeah.
And I've been through a number of earthquakes, and I can tell you when I'm looking for the door jamb to go stand under, I just want it to stop. And books and vases are coming down, and glass is breaking. And know that when you're in the first path, this is very uncomfortable for most of us. The ground is shaking. And when it shakes, we tend to think, oh, I just want to go back to the safety of yesterday.
Mm.
But we can know that the first path is opening us up to a second path, which is going to be in a time of wandering. And that's the holiness is this time of wandering. I mean, Tolkien said it best. Not all who wander are lost. This is a very intentional wandering because we need to let go of the old categories of the old understanding. We've got to let it be, let it go, clear out, find that holy emptiness. And then there will come the third path. And that third path is suddenly great through great something arrives. I could never have predicted it. And when that newness arrives, we're like, oh, here's the larger understanding. Oh, now I can look back at the first and the second path and I see where the Holy One has been leading me. I couldn't see it when the ground was trembling. I couldn't see it when I was wandering and felt I was lost. But now I can look back and see, actually, there was direction and meaning. So just know that this journey is always about our larger life, but initially the feeling, it may not be comfortable.
Absolutely. I'd have to say I agree. So I think that what strikes me most about these questions is really, like I said at the start, how honest they are and how much courage that it actually takes is to say, I need this map. I need a different map to the one that I was originally given. And what I've found is it's slowly, that just slowly, Theosis is asking something different of me. And it's not about being certain. It's actually a spaciousness. It's a willingness to keep becoming.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are listening, if you're in that in-between space right now and the old story no longer fits and the new one's not yet clear, we want you to know that that threshold is exactly where the journey begins. And if you look below, there are links that can guide you to navigate your way to a number of options to start your quadratus journey. And I would recommend having a look through that and joining us and discovering more about this map that we keep going on about.
Please. We would so love, if it's right for you, we would so love for you to come walk along with us.
Absolutely. And I really am very thankful to Terry for sending in her questions. And I just love to know what people are thinking and what other, brave things that people want to ask us. And because what I have found is that there are no silly questions. They're just, those silly ones are the ones that we hold in and don't bother asking. So we want to know, don't we, Alexander John?
We do, and just this conversation that we've just had was not scripted.
No.
And I am sure that there are things that I've shared that are going to raise questions for you, or things that my language perhaps wasn't clear enough or accurate enough. Let us know. We'd love to grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers. I've
Cheers.
got my 8 practices mug.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, all right.
So do I.
We're matching today.
Yeah. Cheers to you.
Yeah.
See you next time.